The late 16th century was a time of exploration and ambition for England. The nation, under the rule of Queen Elizabeth I, was eager to expand its influence and wealth. The seas were teeming with ships, each one a vessel of hope and dreams for a brighter future. The allure of uncharted territories and the promise of untold riches drove many to brave the unknown. The vast expanse of North America held the promise of riches and a new life. The dense forests, sprawling coastlines, and abundant resources painted a picture of endless possibilities. For many, it was a chance to escape the rigid class structures of England and carve out a new destiny in a land of opportunity. Sir Walter Raleigh, a favorite of Queen Elizabeth I, secured a charter to establish a colony in this new land. Raleigh was not just an explorer, he was a visionary. He saw the potential for England to establish a foothold in the New World, a base from which they could expand their influence and challenge their rivals. He envisioned a base for English privateers to harass Spanish shipping. The Spanish, with their vast empire in the Americas, were England's primary rivals. By establishing a colony, Raleigh hoped to disrupt Spanish trade routes and weaken their hold on the New World, and a gateway to the riches of the New World. The tales of gold and other treasures were not just myths, they were real, and they fueled the ambitions of many. The New World was seen as a land of immense wealth, just waiting to be claimed. The stage was set for the first English settlement in North America, a venture that would become shrouded in mystery, the Lost Colony of Roanoke. This settlement was not just a bold move, it was a statement of intent. England was here to stay, and they were ready to stake their claim in the New World. The first expedition, led by Sir Humphrey Gilbert, ended in disaster. The seas were unforgiving and the challenges were immense. Gilbert, despite his bravery and determination, faced insurmountable odds. Gilbert, Raleigh's half-brother, perished at sea during a storm. His death was a stark reminder of the dangers that lay ahead. The ocean, with its unpredictable nature, claimed many lives, and Gilbert was one of its many victims. Undeterred, Raleigh financed another expedition, this time targeting an island off the coast of present-day North Carolina, Roanoke Island. Raleigh's resolve was unshaken. He believed in the potential of the New World and was determined to see his vision come to life. The island, they believed, offered a strategic advantage with its hidden inlets and fertile land. It was seen as the perfect location for a settlement, providing both security and resources. The fertile land promised bountiful harvests, and the hidden inlets offered protection from potential threats. Hope and anticipation filled the hearts of the men who set sail westward, unaware of the trials that awaited them. They were driven by dreams of a better life, of adventure, and of the chance to be part of something greater. Little did they know, the journey ahead would test their limits and challenge their resolve in ways they could never have imagined. In 1585, over 100 men, led by Ralph Lane, landed on Roanoke Island. They established a settlement, eager to claim the land for England and find their fortune. However, the reality of life on Roanoke proved harsher than expected. The colonists struggled to find enough food and faced constant threats from the native Algonquin tribes, who saw them as invaders. Disease spread through the makeshift settlement, further weakening the colonists. Their dreams of riches turned to dust as they found no gold or silver. Relations with the native tribes, initially promising, deteriorated into skirmishes and mistrust. The colonists, disillusioned and desperate, abandoned their settlement in 1586 when Sir Francis Drake arrived on a surprise visit. Drake, returning from a successful raid on Spanish settlements, offered the colonists passage back to England. They eagerly accepted, leaving behind the remnants of their failed colony. The dream of Roanoke seemed to have died, a cautionary tale of hardship and broken promises. John White, fueled by unwavering optimism, persuaded Sir Walter Raleigh to finance a second attempt at settling Roanoke. His determination was rooted in the belief that the New World held boundless opportunities for those brave enough to seize them. White envisioned a thriving English colony that would not only expand the British Empire, but also offer a new beginning for many families seeking a better life. This time, families were included in the expedition, a decision aimed at creating a more permanent and stable community. The inclusion of women and children was a strategic move, signaling a shift from mere exploration to actual settlement. It was hoped that the presence of families would foster a sense of normalcy and encourage the colonists to invest in the long-term success of the settlement. White, appointed governor of the new colony, set sail from Plymouth in 1587 with 115 men, women, and children. The journey across the Atlantic was arduous, filled with the perils of rough seas and unpredictable weather, yet the spirit of adventure and the promise of a new beginning kept the colonists' hopes alive as they braved the treacherous voyage. They landed on Roanoke Island, eager to rebuild and learn from the mistakes of the past. The island, with its dense forests and fertile land, seemed like an ideal location for their new home. The colonists were determined to make this second attempt a success, drawing on their previous experiences to avoid the pitfalls that had doomed the first settlement. Among the colonists was White's own daughter, Eleanor Dare, and her husband Ananias. Their presence added a personal stake for White, who was not only responsible for the colony's success but also for the safety and well-being of his own family. This personal connection deepened his resolve to ensure the colony's survival. Shortly after their arrival, Eleanor gave birth to a daughter, Virginia Dare, the first English child born in the New World. Her birth was a symbol of hope and new beginnings, a tangible representation of the colonists' dreams for a prosperous future. The arrival of Virginia Dare was celebrated by the settlers, who saw her as a beacon of the colony's potential. The colonists re-established the settlement, planting crops and building homes. They worked tirelessly to create a self-sustaining community, utilizing the resources available on the island. The construction of homes and the planting of crops were crucial steps in establishing a sense of permanence and stability. They hoped to forge better relations with the local tribes, particularly the CROATOANs, who seemed more welcoming than the others. Establishing positive relationships with the indigenous people was essential for the colony's survival, as it would ensure access to local knowledge and resources. The settlers were keen to learn from the CROATOANs and sought to build a mutually beneficial alliance. White, however, knew that the colony needed more supplies from England. Despite their best efforts, the settlers faced shortages of essential goods, and the success of the colony depended on timely resupply missions. White's experience and foresight made him acutely aware of the challenges ahead. He reluctantly left for England a few months later, promising to return with provisions as soon as possible. The decision to leave was not made lightly, as it meant leaving behind his family and the fledgling colony. However, White understood that securing additional supplies was crucial for the colony's survival and future growth. He left behind his daughter, granddaughter, and the hopes of a fledgling colony. The settlers watched as White's ship disappeared over the horizon, carrying with it their hopes for a brighter future. The colony's fate now rested on White's ability to return with the much-needed supplies and support from England. John White's return to England coincided with the escalating conflict with Spain. The year was 1587, and tensions between the two powerful nations were at an all-time high. England, under the rule of Queen Elizabeth I, was preparing for a confrontation that would go down in history. The Spanish Armada, a formidable fleet, was being assembled by King Philip II of Spain with the intent to invade England and overthrow the Protestant Queen. The Spanish Armada posed a significant threat, and all available ships were commandeered for the war effort. This massive mobilization of resources meant that John White, who had returned to England to gather supplies for the struggling Roanoke colony, found himself unable to secure a vessel to return. The war effort took precedence over everything else, leaving White and his mission in a state of limbo. White found himself stranded in England, unable to return to Roanoke for 3 agonizing years. Each passing day was filled with anxiety and frustration as he worried about the fate of the colonists, including his own daughter and granddaughter. The war with Spain dragged on, and White could do nothing but wait and hope for a resolution that would allow him to return to the New World. When he finally secured passage and returned to Roanoke in 1590, he was met with an eerie silence. The settlement was deserted. The once bustling colony, filled with the sounds of daily life and the hopes of a new beginning, was now a ghost town. The overgrown paths and empty buildings stood as silent witnesses to a mystery that would baffle generations to come. Houses stood empty, possessions lay scattered, and the colonists were nowhere to be found. It was as if they had vanished into thin air. The personal belongings left behind suggested a sudden and unplanned departure, but there were no signs of a struggle or conflict. The eerie stillness of the abandoned village only deepened the mystery. The only clue to their fate was a single word carved into a post of the fence that had once protected the settlement: CROATOAN. This cryptic message hinted at a possible relocation to CROATOAN Island, now known as Hatteras Island, but it provided no clear answers. The word CROATOAN became a symbol of the enduring enigma surrounding the lost colony. Panic and confusion gripped White as he searched frantically for any sign of his family or the colonists. He scoured the empty homes, hoping to find a note, a clue, anything that could explain their disappearance. The sense of urgency and despair was palpable as he realized that the people he had left behind were gone without a trace. He found no graves, no signs of struggle, and no indication of what had become of the men, women, and children he had left behind. The absence of any evidence of violence or disease only added to the perplexity. It was as if the entire colony had simply walked away, leaving behind their homes and belongings. The colony had simply vanished, leaving behind a chilling mystery that has captivated historians and amateur sleuths for centuries. Over the years, numerous theories have been proposed, ranging from integration with local Native American tribes to abduction by Spanish forces. Yet, none have provided definitive answers, and the fate of the lost colony remains one of history's greatest unsolved mysteries. What had become of the lost colony of Roanoke? The question continues to intrigue and puzzle researchers, inspiring countless investigations and explorations. As new evidence occasionally comes to light, the story of Roanoke endures, a haunting reminder of the fragility and uncertainty of early colonial ventures in the New World. The word CROATOAN became the focal point of the mystery. It was the name of a nearby island and a Native American tribe known to have had contact with the colonists. Had the colonists sought refuge with the CROATOANs? Were they taken by force? Or did the word hold a different meaning, a message left by the colonists themselves? Theories abound, each attempting to weave a narrative from the scant evidence. Some theories propose sinister scenarios, while others offer more hopeful explanations for the colonists' disappearance. The mystery of the lost colony of Roanoke, with its eerie clue and lack of definitive answers, has captivated the American imagination for centuries. It serves as a reminder of the fragility of life in the face of the unknown, and the enduring power of unanswered questions. The lost colonists became a part of American folklore, their story told and retold, each generation grappling with the same haunting question: what happened to the lost colony of Roanoke?